Okay, you are live now.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Students from Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, Universiti Udayana Denpasar, Bali, Universiti Mahasaraswati, Bali, Indonesia, and students audience from Keio University, Japan, and any YouTuber that are already watching our sessions in Man and Biosphere and World Heritage Sites for UNESCO MasterClass through Connect Asia. Yeah, this fourth session of MasterClass will cover how is the application of sustainability science for Biosphere Reserve and World Heritage Site. In this case, we are using Subak system, which is a traditional water irrigation system in Bali, which is trying to highlight the local knowledge on how they interact with the nature, between the nature and the society in preserving this area and recognized as World Heritage Site by UNESCO. First of all, I would like also to introduce that our fourth session actually is a result from our Leadership and Sustainable Development Program from Academy Leadership of Under Ministry of Education of Malaysia, and working together with joint partnership with Universiti Teknologi Malaysia. And in this programs, which is held in 8 to 13 October in Bali, which involved 30 university leaders from Malaysia, Indonesia. And we are also co-organized with UNESCO Jakarta, Universiti Udayana, Universiti Mahasaraswati, Ministry of Education and Culture, Indonesia, and Sustainable Development Solution Network, Malaysia, Indonesia, as well as UTM and Institute Sultan Iskandar. So for this 8 days programs, which is actually an action research, we use the Subak system as a case study, as well as the rice terrace of Jati Luwis, in showing on how is the harmonization between dynamic interaction of nature and society, and what is the challenge in this current context of development in Bali province. So these are our teams of leaders from higher education in Malaysia and Indonesia. This is a small showing about the rice terrace of Jatiluwi in Bali, the Subak system, the transdisciplinary approach that we would like to introduce in this last session, and the interdisciplinary approach. And the objective of this 4 session is divided by the first session. The building block is the introduction of sustainability science, which is a 2 days masterclass. And the next session 2, the 3:15 p.m. and until 5:15 p.m. of Malaysia and Bali time, we would like to have a look in a more deeper understanding on how is the approach and reflection of the local knowledge of Subak system, which actually in the context of how is social ecological system interact. And nevertheless, we would like also to show how is and what is the current tourism practice and its impact in Bali province, which is a contra with the previous local knowledge on preserving the natural heritage sites in Bali. So I would share with Professor Dr. Wayan Windia, our Subak expert from Universiti Udayana. On the Masterclass 3, we would like to introduce the interdisciplinary approach of sustainability science in a way that how is the zonation of the Biosphere Reserve, that's another program's effort to conserve the biosphere by using the program that are launched by UNESCO. And this Masterclass 3 we will hold in the November 30th for the same time range, as well as the Masterclass 4. We would like to present how is the transdisciplinary approach in sustainability science helps in localizing of SDG for Subak system. At the same time, we will introduce to you the methodology and assessment from the issue and problem-based approach of sustainability science in tackling issues. For today, MasterClass 1, there will be only one speaker, me, and summary would be the introduction of sustainability science as a tool for transformation, the concept of reserve will help this science as a result of local and traditional knowledge, as well as what is the technical underpinning between these two jargon, SUS and SES, or in short, SES, of social ecological system. And I will explain briefly about the introduction of Subak traditional water irrigation system and introduction about the biosphere reserve stewardship as another session. So first of all, I would like also to introduce you about the Bali. I know everybody knows about Bali, right? Bali is an island of paradise, island of God, and at the same time, due to the beauty and magnificence of scenery, they are known as a mass tourism attract tourists from all over the world. And that GNP in Bali is contribute 70% from the tourism industry. 50% from the agriculture. How now, in regards to the heritage landscape known by UNESCO, how is this West tourism is transferred into culture technology, existing dynamic innovation and cultural rich cultural heritage as yeah, 5,000 kilometers and population of 4.2 billion. Total area of 430 kilometers, 40% is subject to beach erosion. So this is how the plant itself is already has major destruction. But from the 30% objective from the development in Indonesia, from the 30% target for 30% as a forest cover, Bali has reduced this target to 23%, which is showing the challenge in terms of balancing of the development and retaining the forest cover in order to maintain the ecosystem surface. And nevertheless, the high reach of Bali is due to the decrease of water availability. So from this slide, I would like also to draw attention from the 5,600 kilometers, we have 90,000 hectares. And the 5 buffer zone is actually 500 hectares as knowing as a cultural landscape Bali. So the calculation, I got it that not even 1% of this cultural landscape Bali's landscape is under World Heritage, conserved as a World Heritage site. But then, even though it's only not reach 1%, it's only 1.5%, that we have to maintain to another push factor, the demand, economic development, and tourism sector. So these are the rice terraces of Jatiluwi, which is part of the Bali province cultural landscape that are under World Heritage Site. It's a very complex system actually, and we will explain later on. And this is our trip to Jatiluwi during the field data collection from the sustainable in Latvia. So if you look at this on how the rice terrace has been exist and managed together with the small forest or trees to keep the balance of this area. And at the same time, this is just a small picture in showing the part of the Subak system. will be explained later on in the detail for the masterclass session too. And again, as part of the linkage of this water temple network, in order to keep the balance of the traditional water irrigation system, there is a Mengwiking Castle, call it as a Taman Ayun Temple. They are still doing the traditional religious activity in order to respect to their nature, the god, and also to the people. And these are the small dam that exist in this Taman Ayun Temple. This is also part of the World Heritage Site UNESCO. And the other one is about the Tisa Empung Temple at the Tampang area. This is also another source of spring water, right? Holy water for the Balinese, and they are also retain this area as sacred places for them. Yeah. Right from the very brief information about the Bali and about the place that we would like to study in these 4 sessions. So I would like to draw your attention again to the basic concept of sustainable society and why we need this kind of concept. Of course, it ensures health and quality of human life, only human cause and nature, but also the nature, in order to future generation. So like to stop this, of course, those who are destroying human life culture. At the same time, we would like to encourage the activities that to the what exists and prevention. So this about restoration, we will explain more in the biosphere reserve concept. So the definition anthropocentric concept promotes as a means to balance actually on how is the demands of nature and people and the welfare. So both sides have to find their balance actually. So again, the concept for development include what is to be sustained, of course the nature, the human activities. The nature itself include biodiversity, ecosystem, natural habitats, evolutionary potential, life, etc. That will be part of the biosphere that we will explain more in this session. So, of course, not only the nature that we would like to sustain, we also would like to sustain the group 10 place. So, what is the next? What is to be developed? Of course, it's not only the nature. We would like also to develop the people, the economy that support us, and then the society itself needs to stabilize between the populations, pressuring factor, find the housing, institutional capacity, and etc. So the next will be a very brief concept in production of an economy that is create pressure. For example, in the tourism in Bali, actually would like to find to improve the life well-being of the people in Bali. So from the classical economics, production in economics, sectors include the land, labor, and capital. The extension into the natural capital, social, cultural value, that will be the capital that include in the economy, not only the natural capital, but also as well as the human, social, cultural, and human-made capital. In this case, natural capital, for example, we know that the magnification of the Bali province and the human social is on how is the manifestation of Sri Hitakarana philosophy has been manifest in various activity and living cultural landscape that attract tourists. And of course, the human-made capital is how is the Subak community involved in the various activities, for example, cafe, etc. Again, you know about these 3 pillars of development for sustainable development. The 3 pillars involving economic, social, society, and economic and environment. And for the more comprehensive definition that I got from 2016, in order to fulfill the human well-being, like the other 5 dimensions of development system, not only the physical and the environment per se, but of course the social, ecological, and economic itself. So how these five find the balance that would be translated in our session.
Live chat.
Again, for the development in research, environment is always the most focused, but in sustainability, we would like to figure out is the deeper understanding and integration between the social science in social ecological research by using social ecological systems. And of course, you know about all the SDG 17 numbers in Sustainable Development Goals, which is actually trying to find a balance between the needs for development, the pressure for development, and at the same time find a balance between the human life well-being. So we are coming to these pictures. So from the focus on development, so if the sustainability focus, we would like to find the balance between the three pillars and the five well-beings of the human. So in this picture, we would like to show on how is social and ecological are intertwined and in fact involving and shaping one another. So it's not a dynamic interaction. So it's not a static interaction actually. So how this interplay in a complex ways, relation, interaction, and feedback is actually we will using this approach in our methodology of sustainability science. Next, again, just to give you another basic of the interaction and connection between the economy, society, and the society. So I would like to depict the picture from the fox and how is the biosphere actually provide very basic and sustain this activity to fulfill the society, life well-being, and the economic activity. So this interaction actually is how the sustainability science emerged and facilitate in order to achieve the sustainability. We would like to emphasize we only have one planet, and if we keep repairing our business as usual, we don't do anything. We don't have any transformation in terms of policy regimes that we are introduced now. We are allowing more bridging for tourism, so infrastructure, and etc. At the same time, we are ignoring the communities and the need for the local people. So that will be, we are still in this situation, but we need to move forward into this vision of sustainable future. So how is it? So this session might not go to solve all the problem. It's just like how we showing this effort that we can do find a solution and come up with a development of the innovation solution for the local problems. So again, now we are entering sustainability science is all about. So this science might be a new science in Asia Pacific. They are already 10 years more advanced in Europe and other developed countries. Actually, in field of driven. Yeah, it's not by discipline in silo basis, but it's more on interdisciplinary scholarship that facilitates on how to invent and how to find the solutions. So the field is defined by the problem. So it draws from multidiscipline. So it needs various disciplines to find the solutions for problems or any problems and develop. In the more simple diagram, I would like to use UNESCO diagram on how we actually, the closing between designing sustainable society needs an interaction on how is sustainability science apply by identifying the problems in the society and how is this integration can create the symbiosis for a win-win solution by creating dialogue between these two spheres. And at the same time, we would like also to acknowledge the local knowledge, for example, the Subak system, and then at the same time, trying to gather the political governments and then academia, and as well as the local community in the session in the brainstorming session workshop that trying to find what is the development in the issue in this development area. Again, for this analysis, we will use the four components of sustainability science in order to find structure problems in this area and time to assess what is the dynamic interaction between type, for example, how is the environment interaction manifest in various agricultural landscapes and activities. And the second one is how is inter and transdisciplinary approach can use in order to facilitate the peace at the local level. And we would like also to find what is the normative function that lies behind the Subak system. And at the last, transformational function, we would like also to know and learn from how is the local knowledge itself can integrate into other type of knowledge or as a co-production of knowledge solution to the existing issues problem at the local level. So another, if I can draw to another attention about the MaB and Biosphere programs, the sustainability science also is another approach. They are using it for integrated problem-solving approach. And again, the traditional and indigenous knowledge is acknowledged and applied in a transdisciplinary way to identify how is the understanding and how is the previous practice that can be integrated in the current effort. And then again, if you know, but I'm sure you know about what is the biosphere. It's from the Greek words bios, life, and sphere. So basically, it's a layer of the planet Earth whose life exists and living organisms together with their environment where the lives occurs. So at the same time, now is how is the program, the Biosphere is a program itself by UNESCO can help in promoting sustainable development by using the living lab concept, acknowledge the research community involved in this different layer that we will introduce later on. So these are actually UNESCO programs on MaB and Biosphere. So they are conservation efforts, they are developing for sustainable development, they are purposely for the community, and they are also research and monitoring in the world network. So these are also reach the MaB and Biosphere in certain area with another biosphere reserve in other countries. So basically, is to improve the quality relationship between human being and environment and the basis of science technology. So these are actually what if we don't have like this kind of biosphere. So mainly is they don't have this kind of core zonation. What they are trying to introduce in zonation actually trying to promote the concept of sustainable development, where the core zone is limited for any development, but the buffer zone will allow the community-based and ecotourism or other type of green environmental-friendly activity, but at the same time also trying to develop the community-based activity that can achieve the well-being of the community. And the transition area is actually allows more development in environmental friendly way. So these are actually how, back to the previous graph, is how we are trying to move from the business as usual chart here. We use this curve. So in this effort, there needs to be a never-ending effort. So hopefully by it's a research education training, so we have more measurable data that can showing the success of the certain biosphere research. So it's measurable, yeah, and it's applicable and it's possible and it's possible to be adopted at the local level and helps the national government, subnational to achieve their sustainable development goals. And these are again would like to use UNESCO just see that how is the biosphere also function as living laboratory for you guys, the academic, and also works together with the community in order to reviving this broken area becomes more meaningful and can achieve the sustainable development. And again, it's under the UNESCO MaB program. So it's other local indigenous knowledge systems and link with the other World Heritage Site, this one, and this other Man and Biosphere program. So basically, this program are ideas, and maybe you can check out in the website. So there are platforms for you to be involved in these community programs to preserve our environment. So again, I would like to draw your attention. What is the theoretical behind the sustainability science? If previously the sustainability more of the science are a silo approach, they are towards one delivery research and not taking into account on how is not really listening on how is the demands from the community. So these are the approach that are trying to accommodate the needs from the community, from the local government, and this interaction that are trying to be present in this MasterClass. So socio-ecological system itself is actually a complex adaptive system where social and biological agents are interact. And of course, we know that there are 4 ecosystem functions. We enjoy the provision and the production of food and water, regulatory control, climate and disease supporting function. We enjoy the fresh air without we have to pay for that, and then at the same time we are also enjoying the cultural and spiritual recreational benefit from this kind of functional ecosystem. But then the main challenge is how to govern the SES is improving our understanding, because many actors, they are not really bothered about this kind of function, but they have different agenda in development. Yeah. So of course the component SES itself is time and space dimension. They don't have. We need time to show on how is our action towards environment. And co-adapters, we need to co-develop what kind of a solution and scale dimension, either individual groups, institutions. The bigger groups, the better the impacts and the dynamic interactions. And uncertainty, of course, there is uncertainty in every effort that we would like to introduce later on. But then, of course, there is an inseparable dimension of the social ecological system. So it's impossible to separate between human and environment, actually. And again, I would like to introduce a little bit about the role of indigenous or local people in a form of local knowledge. And why do we maintain the world available cultural heritage? One, their knowledge system are the research absences explanation. So it's proven, yeah. One indigenous knowledge, local ecological knowledge, can represent the survival of the proven adaptive management system. So system will present on will local knowledge. And lastly is the local and indigenous knowledge is synonymous with the other terms that traditional knowledge, indigenous knowledge, and local knowledge. What is the characteristics of the local and indigenous knowledge? It's fully maintained within the community, so its aspect is adaptive and is already have time dimension that proving the result between their harmonization between this man and environment, and how is the local people manage the environment, for example in the Subak, and they own collectively. So the Subak, the farmer, the Pekasi, the community is actually own this kind of knowledge, and how they develop and change over the generation. They are still practicing it. So hopefully Prof. Wayan will explain more about this Subak system and how this embedded in the community way of life. Of course, how is the community in Bali still have to pray to respect for their series of spirituals in managing the rice terrace in Bali. So after the 10,000 years of dynamic communication between land and environment, the industrialization last 100 years generate massive population increase and intense use of natural resources. That is the source of our problems. So this is another explanation about man and biosphere. So we would like to promote and what is the local knowledge that can lead environmental conservation and help us in create more sustainable management of land and resource. And the second one, and how is there is possibility to include this local knowledge into the current science and new technology in the development communities. Again, the aim of biosphere actually to practice within the balance within natural and social science, and at the end is how we can make the resource and improve the land planning actually at the end. And the studies on indigenous and local people and their decision making and resource use system is important to mobilize the program. So man and biosphere actually need to acknowledge the local knowledge and local peoples in order to adopt their knowledge in the current context of development. This is how we will present the transdisciplinary in our MasterClass session 3. How is transdisciplinary play important roles in our sustainability science to find a solution for the local issues. And then, the slide from the UNESCO Biosphere. There is no stated that there is no compatible management guidelines. So it's a contextualized, it's a works by the posing works with the local people, the researcher and government and local government. So it's maybe not of the guideline for this thing, but it's a step that's adopted for the development of man and biosphere and zonation. And of course, they already exist in these 120 countries for 169 biospheres in the world. So if we have a network, it will share the spirit and it help us to develop and solve the local problems by learn from other biospheres of how they tackling the local problems. So that's another interesting exercise. If you can, we will use actually this biosphere reserve concept in a zonation for the next sessions. And in Indonesia, we have actually 11 biosphere reserves. Yeah? And this area is already having several and of course the local peoples and national government has a very important significant support for organizing these programs. It's under Ministry of Forestry right now, and LIPI or Lembaga Ilmu Pengetahuan Indonesia is the organization that manages this biosphere reserve in Indonesia. So I would like to use the slide from Professor Purwanto. Is the chairperson of the MaB Malaysia in Lembaga LIPI di Bogor. So again, just to highlight the 11 reserve in Indonesia, And then how is the total of Indonesian Biosphere Reserve? Actually, it can be a showcasing on how sustainable development is being translated in this area. And from the concept of donation, I would like to draw your attention of course, because we have the core zone, the buffer zone, and the second layer, and the outer layer is the transition zone. So the core zone will be the conservation biodiversity, and the second zone will be focused on the how this community can develop and support the core zones that give us benefit from the ecosystem function, and at the same time maybe the flora and fauna inside the core zone can help us at the same time to promote our area to be like national park. So there is many examples of biosphere, and these are the outer layer that support that give a logistic support. So these are the activities that are having in this biosphere zonation of this biosphere. And of course, from this slide, it's not only for the recognition of excellence, but then of course the conservation and sustainable development and the community itself actually that need to be achieve a life well-being of the population itself. And the benefits implementing biosphere concept, we can get back to the sustainability 3 pillars. We are trying to emphasize these 3 basic functions of sustainability in this biosphere. And the benefit actually is not only for the government or the researcher academy and the university, but of course the community that live adjacent to this area. And how is the community in biosphere reserve and surrounding can get benefit from the ecosystem service, production activities, and cultural heritage, of course. And the effort to conserve the area is we need to take the collection of data examples, data collection for the flora, fauna exists in this core zone for the national park, for example, or in the Cibodas area, and the science technology on how is the science activity or research activity can use this zonation area on the biosphere as a natural laboratory. And the government with the local and national, of course, the interaction need to achieve on how sustainable economic development in this area at the same time need to include the social and cultural dimensions. Private sector will, from the very ideal concept, of course, but then we need to work closely with the private sector as well in order to produce, to accommodate the product that as a result of the community-based tourism in this area, for example. And there are opportunities also prospect for biosphere reserve development. They have sustainable management model, natural laboratory, branding, ecosystem balance. For example, in Cibodas, they already have their own local products, and they have their own branding for the community-based tourism that are one of example of the success story of the biosphere reserve in Indonesia. And these are also, of course, in any effort that against or not against but challenge the development, we have this kind of challenge from the political and institution barriers and the interaction with the others intention for the human activities in this area. So how is the science and technology and transdisciplinary approach can solve this problem? So we will use in the next 3 series of masterclass to explain in more details. Yeah, so moving forward, we need the socialization, capacity building, and real action. So these are among the efforts that are being implemented in this donation in Indonesia. So we need to strengthen management institution. They are working closely together, LIPI working closely together with local government, provincials, nationals, of course the local people, And of course, the development of the nation is very important with the supportive policy, legal aspect, regulations, capacity building, improve investment, and increase the capacity of the financial trust fund. So these are the Biosphere Reserve Development Program implementations in details from the development programs, inclusion of science technology, and to achieve the sustainable development. So these are where is the interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary approach of this science technology to achieve sustainability science is actually showing the relevant sustainability science in biosphere development implementation, work mechanism and development, and community development. You can see the conservation village, bio village, and etc. And strengthening management aspects, forming and strengthening the secretariat biosphere reserve is also important. So this platform is actually like a platform together, not only the academia, but also the local government, the Ministry of Education, Forestry, and as well if we are in Bali, we have the very complex and very strong into the social capital of the Subak state itself. So that is another a capital to move to biosphere reserve in Bali province. And the total, if you look at this statistic, the biosphere reserve from the 11 biosphere reserve, we have the core area 3 million, and in total, when we added the buffer zone and the transition area, add up to 17 million of the total area. So not much if we compare to huge archipelago of Indonesia. Yeah, but at least these are to be showcasing on how sustainable development can be achieved if we have the supporting data and more measurable effort and concrete action at the local levels and national levels. So these are the biosphere reserve development. So they are they have a very comprehensive monitoring as well for various aspects of the biosphere reserve. This is also compiled from the LIPI, Lembaga Indonesia Pengetahuan Science Knowledge Institution Indonesia, and strengthening national. They have also biosphere reserve management and manager, so they will have an annual meeting to share what is the effort at the local level and learning from other biosphere reserve success story. And there are many kinds of many kind of collaboration that can help in mobilizing this sustainable development in biosphere reserve. Network and meeting notes, and that's it for biosphere reserve. So next is about the World Heritage Site. I'll try to make it shortly. Again, as I already mentioned, the result of the harmonization and synergistic effort between the man and environment is recognized as a World Heritage Site, is showing that it's a good example of a social ecological systems interaction, dynamic interactions. And again, for the World Heritage Site, they have recognized the outstanding universal value that are inscription in the World Heritage Site. So there are various type of World Heritage Sites, and we are focusing on the natural World Heritage Sites in this session of MasterClass. And of course, from the outstanding universal value of cultural landscape, they are also acknowledge the agricultural outstanding value. For example, the technique agriculture that can more fauna friendly. For example, in Bali, maybe they use a duck system. Rawayan will explain on the MasterClass session 2, and landscape outstanding universal value on how is the rice terrace in 100 years, 1,000 years can still remain the systems because they are also at the same time maintain the forest community or area in certain area. And the nature protection and conservation floristic, they have acknowledge the existence of the needs of to balance the flora and fauna. And of course, the social culture is actually the effort from the local community itself. So this is another example of how is the terrace from the Philippine border, and they have the Budapest Declaration that promotes the adoption of political of the protected areas. So this is it becomes it's serious. It's not only for a program, but it's recognition for the country itself for being and having a World Heritage Site in their country. And for World Heritage Sites in Indonesia, we have 4 cultural World Heritage Sites and 4 natural World Heritage Sites. Yeah, so in this session, I would like to introduce Bali as a cultural heritage site for this session. Yeah, I would like to use Yunus RB from Director of Heritage and Culture Diplomacy from the previous session of Cape Sustainable Development Program. Again, the area and the statement that Bali actually has this kind of standing universal value that brings to be the inscription of the World Heritage Sites. And they are also adapting the buffer zone boundaries to landscape, elaborating the disaster also preparedness plans are required, and developing detailed monitoring indicators, creating low-key site. This is another management of the World Heritage Site that will explain next in the World Heritage Site sections. And trying to link between the 4 components of sustainability site, what would be the statement of outstanding universal value in Bali? Actually, this philosophical principle of Trihitakarana, or the 3 cows of goodness that promotes an harmonious relationship between the individual and the realms of the spirit, Parahyangan, and the individual with the human world, Pawongan, and the nature, the individual and with the nature. So this abstract gives is given concrete realization the lives of Balinese through the institution of Subak. So this Subak system as an ancient democratic self-governing and farmer association will explain later in the masterclass this afternoon after this. So again, it relates to the sustainability sign, back to the 4 components. This is the first dynamic iteration of standing universal value in Bali and the normative function on how this Trihitakarana has been manifest in various cultural activities and developments. So these are the normative function of the Trihitakarana. And as I explained before, I would go further. And again, as using the social system analysis of Subak system, so we are also looking at a dynamic interaction between nature and society. So this is the coexistence between the terrace and the forest. Lake water and Subak traditional water irrigation. So these are the component of the social ecological system. Also explaining the complexity of the Bali province cultural landscape that are recognized the lake water resource, the forest for water catchment, farmer village, integration water irrigation system, and the water temple. So this complexity will be addressed in our 4th session. This is the details of the component of cultural landscape of Bali, and then more details, pictures from the Bali cultural landscape. And in World Heritage Site, they are trying to also include public information for the site stabilization, monitoring, and protection. They also have they need to concrete management plan in order to protect and preserve the traditional and historical features of outstanding universal values. But how goes it is, how long, how well it is goes, it will explain in the next masterclass too, how is the mass tourism in Bali will affect this dynamic harmonization of the man and environment according to the sociological system. So again, just to explain on the whole heritage site itself, the Bali province also helps to develop the management plan together with the Minister of Directorate of Heritage, and they are developed in order to protect and sustain the conserve the outstanding universal value of the cultural natural sites. So these are the lists of the policy of cultural heritage sites. And how is to improve interconnection between the actors? Again, I would like to draw your attention that we cannot work alone, the community, and the government. We need to work closely together. And from the previous of interconnection and sustainability, they are previously using this three helix model. Now coming to the quadruple helix on how is these three actors need to be worked closely together in order to find a balance development between the nature and environment. And the recent one is actually how is the each knowledge system. So in order to acknowledge the local knowledge, the education system also has their own knowledge. So these are the loop and dynamic interaction need to be acknowledged in generating more innovation solution for the local problems. So these are the details about the 5 systems. You can reach it in the Soy Asia website. And at the end, again, why I accommodate the principal helix in this session, because I look at this framework is also accommodate the transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary analysis of the sustainability science. So these support each other, and hopefully it will also can justify our inter and transdisciplinary approach in this session. Again, at last, I can see that the biosphere stewardship concept is actually has a very significance in managing ecosystem surface, social, economic, and cultural context. So this is quite a new finding from 2016. They are also acknowledge the operation of social ecological system as a theoretical underlying in this institutional and governing challenge. So respecting people's preference, research value is very important in stewards the biosphere through man and biosphere of all heritage sites. And then this also again are continuous learning, knowledge generation across knowledge, system dynamics, and social ecological system and ecosystem surface are the includes in this biosphere research stewardship concept. Yeah, I think in the nutshell, I can see that sustainability science approach has potential to capture a mode of knowledge production, mode 2. Yeah? So we call it mode 2 because the mode 1 is more single interdisciplinary, and there are science-based single disciplines, and the science approach will accommodate for the mode 2 of knowledge production. And the establishment of biospherism and science function to accelerate this process, and important to source of knowledge for policy intervention. So this is another practical implication of this exercise. And the third one, the two functions of biosphere stewardship were a long-term engagement and spiderweb of common understanding issue, with a co-envisioning the future continuous improvement is needed in transition phase of sustainable society. I think I end up my presentation here, and I am aware that another 30 minutes will capture the question and answer for various audience. Thank you. How is it? Oops. Yeah. It's me again. Any question from the floor? How is now? Post your question on the YouTube. Hello, yeah. Yeah, I can hear you, Dr. Utari. How about the teacher? I can see you, but I only see in the group. Oh, yeah. Yeah. How is it? Is there any questions? Question here. Yeah. Yeah, Prof. Keller. Yeah, I can hear you.
Without picture.
Yeah, without picture. How is it? Indra? Yeah. Please, Prof. Keller.
My students actually have a question. What's the meaning of sustainable society in the context of Subak?
Can you repeat again your question and more slowly, Prof?
Thank you.
Can you repeat again the question, Prof. Keller? Thank you.
Actually, my students have a question. Can you explain what is it about sustainable society in the context of Subak?
Sustainable society in the context of Subak?
Yes.
Okay.
What is your position?
what is it? Is it possible to write the question on the chat? We can pose our question in the chat live streaming. Because it's not really. Yes.
Now our staff is not here.
Yeah.
How about now? Could you hear my voice?
The first question is, what is the meaning of sustainable society in the context of Subak, right?
What is the question about sustainable society in context
Of Subak.
of society?
Correct.
About Subak. What is your perception?
So the question is, what is the meaning of sustainable societies in the context of Subak, right? Yeah. Okay. I'll try to. Thank you very much for the questions, and try to answer it according to the several concept and approach that has been introduced in this MasterClass session 1. As we refer to this sustainable transformation curve in order to achieve sustainable societies, of course, we may acknowledge the local knowledge of the Subak, and at the same time, we are also hampered by the challenge of the mass tourism in Bali. I think the player and actors that involved in this effort or development in this Bali province need to have a consensus or a consensus between the actors and acknowledge the limitation within the actors, and at the same time we should have find co-envisioning the future would like would be the future for Bali province. First of all, is the consensus. After we have this kind of consensus and we find that is the future for our Bali province, and it can be translated at the policy at the Bali level, province level. It can be translated at the end of the it translated in regulatory approach and at the several ministries. And of course, this effort is not only one attempt. It must be involving various actors, as I mentioned, the communities, the researchers, the private and industries, of course, and these are as reflected in this quintuple helix is very important to this kind of disclosure. Yeah. So again, by using the concept of biosphere reserve, hopefully the zonation itself can help. Of course, I know the current Bali province cultural landscape World Heritage Site is only cover 1.5, not even reach 1.5% out of the 5,600 kilometer of the Bali province area. But at least this small effort can develop together, and of course, maybe we will showing in our last masterclass session 4, or how is the local community leaders that has succeed in several attempts to showcasing the sustainable development, and at the same time improve the life well-being of the Pakase and the farmer at the local level. And of course, there is a transition or changes of the function of the Bekasi itself if agriculture no more as or not to be the dominant of the actor to contribute to the GDP or GNP. So it can be the role of Bekasi and farmer added to or accommodate this kind of community economy, community-based tourism that maybe can help in mediate the destruction of the impact of the mass tourism in Bali. But I believe with the strong capital value of this manifestation of Trihita Karana philosophy that has been embedded and very strong in the way of life of the Bali's people, that can be another social cultural capital values that can be start off. So I hope I can answer your questions, Prof. Keller. Thank you. Hello. Hello. What happened?
I think I'm confusing the time.
Yeah. Oh, it's late. Yeah. Because the late time. So they just, it's late my.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Because of the take time. Yeah. Any question from other countries? Ya. Kenapa? Oh, iya. Connect Asia stop sharing ya. Terus ya ada ini ya.
Koneksinya.
Bisa ditolong ya, Bu? Is it disconnect? Stop sharing. Oh, they just stop it? Oh, karena dari sananya kayaknya ya. Tapi ini kok nggak bisa? Bentar deh. Coba buka browser satu, Ibu. Browser satu. Untuk ngecek apa? Ini bisa kan tadi? Sini kan? Dia still running? Iya, still running. Coba dibuka Google atau apa gitu, Ibu. Untuk ngetes koneksinya. Ini masih nih. Jalan dari ya. Dari sananya yang mau.
Jadi kok kait dengan ini artinya yang
Hello, Unmas. Hello. Gak ada ini ya. Hello. How is our session?
Hello, Dr. Irina. Yes, I still could hear you.
Okay.
Loud and clear. Yes, you're still connected.
Yeah, we are still waiting for the questions, right?
Yes, if there is another question, yes, we're still live streaming. Dr.
Okay.
Irina, yes.
Okay. Is there any question from this floor? The audience from Udayana University? Please use the microphone.
I think it's good for first time.
Yeah,
And then after that we can
improve it.
improve again. Explain again how many people can connect with the YouTube in this room. How? Nobody, yeah? You can see the presentation. Student, you cannot see how you don't bring it up. Yeah, are there sessions after that?
Yeah, we have another session 2, actually. So shall we continue with the session 2? Or we have to stop it for another 15 minutes?
Yes, Dr. Irina, the
Yes.
session 2 actually being scheduled on, I believe, on 3:15,
15, yeah?
right? So maybe session is complete. You could close the session first, and then we take a break about maybe 15 or 30 minutes.
Yeah, all right. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and we'll see again for another 15 minutes for MasterClass session 2. Thank you. Or we have to...
Thank you very much.
15 minutes.